All right, we're now joined by Matt Kenseth, driver of the number 20 General Toyota in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Matt, last weekend at Atlanta, you clinched a spot in the chase. Going into this weekend, does that change your approach at all for Saturday night's race?
Not really. I mean, for the last 25 races, we've known that if you win, you're almost for sure into the chase. So it doesn't really change it. I mean, I'm glad we're in, and we don't have to, stress about it tomorrow night. But like I said, we've known that for 25 weeks. We've been doing the best we can to try to get a win and finish as high as we can. I feel like we're gaining on our performance a little bit, and we've been putting together some good races when we don't get caught up in wrecks or have problems. We've been finishing pretty good, so hopefully we can just kind of continue the momentum from the last few weeks and get up there and battle for a win.
All right, we'll now open it up for questions. Please raise your hand and state your name and affiliation. Start with Kenny in the back.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. Matt, how different, or is your approach any different going into the chase this year, having not won as opposed to what it was last year when you were so successful?
I don't think my approach is any different. The rules are a little bit different. Obviously, if we won at Chicago last year, obviously the next two races you would maybe be thinking about things a little differently, knowing that they're, the way it's set up now, whoever wins Chicago, if they're in a chase next to, are basically meaningless besides testing and trying to finish and pay and all that kind of stuff. But no, I don't. I think about it a little differently because last year we went into the chase and had a lot of confidence that as long as we had even luck, I felt like we could outrun everybody, or we could be right next to outrunning everybody, and at the end of the day, it wasn't true. We got outrun by the 48. We got beat on performance. We didn't get beat on bad luck necessarily. So, this year I don't feel like that right now. I mean, we haven't had the speed the first 25 weeks to outrun everybody, even on our best days. We've been in position to win a few races. If cautions would have not came out, or things would have fell our way or whatever. We put ourselves in that spot a few times, but we haven't been obviously nearly as strong as we were last year at this time. So. I guess you don't really change your approach. You go out and race as hard as you can, try to finish as the best you can, and do all that stuff. But I realize where we're at today. We need to not have any problems. We need to be perfect. We need to be perfect on pit road and on the racetrack and execute and all that stuff, and get the best finishes we can, and hopefully at the same time improve our performance and hopefully get through that first round and start working on that second one.
Over to Bob.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. We'll probably be asking a lot of guys who need to get into the chase, how rough can you be, and do you ask for forgiveness later? I'm curious, from a guy who's in the chase, do you expect things to be rougher than usual, Richmond, or would it be less because, there are fewer guys kind of racing as far as for points? There's only, if a guy's racing 18th, what's he going to get from being aggressive to get to 17th?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like any other race. It depends what position you're in, the situation you're in. So, the spring race we were leading, and I think we were good the first restart. Second one I was good, and I think there was a third one, and I didn't fire off very good in that restart. And I don't think Brad could have hit me any harder without knocking his radiator out and knocking my tail off. So I don't know how much more aggressive it can really get than that. I thought that was very aggressive for the win last spring. There was 3 or 4 of us all there, nose to tail, mixing it up and kind of getting bumped around. And trying to hang on to it. So I think it just depends what spot you're in. I mean, like you say, if you're, no matter what spot you're in, if you're not within striking distance to the leader, it's not like you can be rougher or more aggressive to win the race. I think it just depends, where you're at, what situation you're in.
Back in the back here.
John Hessler, NASCAR Productions. This is a preview question. Next week is obviously Chicago. You've had success there in the past. How are you and your team preparing for that race and efforts to get a good start off in the chase? And are you feeling confident heading into that race since you won there last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think the better you run, the more confident you are, naturally. We tested there a few weeks ago. It was okay. I feel like we've been, like I talked about gaining it on it in performance. I feel like we've been able to run in the top 5 and run pretty good. And if you can run up in the top 5 and keep putting yourself in position enough times, hopefully eventually you'll get those wins. So I think we feel pretty good as a group going to Chicago. I thought at Loudon we all ran really good, so I think we feel pretty good about going there as well. But you do want to go there and get a good start. You want to go get a good finish or even better a win. To get the thing started for sure.
Any additional questions for Matt? We'll start with Nate, Bob, Stan.
Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. Given the way things ended in April, is this track more conducive to kind of people roughing each other up than it has been in past years? It seems like, I guess it's 10 years into a repave, and it seems like tire wear is getting greater and guys can kind of race each other harder here.
Yeah, again, I think it's all situational. If you fire off on a restart and everybody, gets 2 cranks away from each other and you can't get any closer, no. But I think any racetrack in any race, no matter what time of year it is or what's going on, if the guy leading the race is slower than the guys behind him, and they're having a hard time getting around them, that's always when you see more aggression and obviously see more passing, more moves, because you can smell blood in the water. Leader's hanging on for all he's worth, and you're faster than he is, and you're trying to get by him. So I think whenever you have a situation like that, that's when you usually see it get aggressive at the end.
We'll go over here to Bob.
Bob Packer, Sporting News. Hendrick and Penske have combined for 16 of the 25 wins. Do you see those 2 organizations as kind of the ones to beat starting the chase?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about that Michigan test and reducing power and all that. I think they should just put tapered spacers on those guys for the chase. Leave ours alone. I think that'd be good. But yeah, Penske's been really strong as well for sure. But it seems like it's been Penske and the HMS Stewart Haas cars. Kind of same thing. Those engines and cars have been. It's been a group to beat this year for sure. They've been really strong. And they're so fast, and there's so many of them that even when a couple of them miss it, there's a couple more that didn't. And it seems to me anyway, at the end of almost every race, it's one of those guys you got to beat.
Go ahead, Stan.
Stan Creekmore. Technically, a driver could get all the way to Homestead and just be the highest finishing driver and not have to win at all during the chase. How critical, though, do you believe a win will be during the chase?
Well, none of us know that, until it's over. I don't know. I think I know the rules are all different, but I've seen Tony win the championship, winning 5 times in a chase, and I think he won it 1 time without winning any races in a chase. So certainly I think odds are that whoever wins the championship is going to win some races and most likely win them in the chase. But none of us really know that. There's only one winner and 42 guys that don't, each race. So you go out and give it your best, try to bring your best stuff, race as hard as you can every week, and take that week's result and move on to the next week.
Back to Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny Bruce, NASCAR.com. Again, 2 things, Matt. One, did you get enough laps on the tires out there today to get any kind of feel for how they're going to be this weekend, and also and how that might impact what you guys try to do?
Yeah, the tire thing. Probably need to let the Cup cars get on track tomorrow. I don't foresee any wear issues. I think it's going to be the opposite. I think it's going to be grip issues. It seemed like it was really slow, hardly any grip, rubbered up real quick, but no wear. So we'll find out more tomorrow. Talladega, it was just such a mess. I guess it was Daytona was the last plate race. Qualifying was just such a mess. People going 100 miles an hour, people going 200 miles an hour, people jamming the brakes so the guy couldn't draft behind him and get a faster lap. It was probably not that great to watch, and it probably wasn't the safest situation to be in at the same time. So I think by shortening the rounds, at least, you can wait for a lap, but I think it probably takes a minute and a half to leave pit road and take the green. So only being 5 minutes, obviously it's going to alleviate a lot of that messing around, and you're going to be out there and trying to time your run and get your lap sooner. So I think those are good changes.
Nate.
Trying to think of the delicate way to ask this. when Denny didn't make the chase last year, he talked a few weeks later about how when they had cars lined up, they sometimes went to you or to Kyle. I think, or maybe it was chassis or something like that. That they had sort of picked out. The team had a pecking order. Does that give you some relief to know? I guess, I mean, being in the chase, does that kind of change that dynamic? Do you remember that at all from last year? I guess, you know, what's the feeling, I guess, like for your team? I know that you guys approach every race the same, you want to win, but now that like you're in the chase and your teammates are as well, like you guys are all kind of on the same page as opposed to last year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really recall that last year. You know, Kyle and Denny are both really great teammates. All three crew chiefs work really well together. You know, if somebody wasn't in a chase and there was two other guys and they wanted something of Jason's or however you want to put it, you know, I mean, as we always try to do what's best for the company. I think we all do, and you know, we all understand that. But you know, we all got good cars. It's not like we'll only build one of them and two guys didn't get them. So I mean, we're trying to build better cars all the time, you know, and get us all better cars all the time. But certainly, you know, as you're behind and catching up, you know, like this summer there was some cars that were better, and you know that you kind of had to go in order, and the crew chiefs and management and engineering, everything work all that out, how that works, and to my knowledge there's never been a problem with that. So I think it's just you know, business as usual. You help your teammates as much as you can until race day, and then you go try to beat them. You know, I don't think so. It's just been a busy week. We tested at Charlotte this week and had to be here today for practice already. And Monday was a holiday race, real late Sunday night. So it was a really busy week. So I didn't even get to the shop this week with all the stuff we had going on. So I don't think really anything changed. We already had our cars kind of slated for Chicago, what we wanted to take, and you know, Jason's always got a pretty good plan, and you know, whether we made it or didn't make it, no matter where we were in points, we're still has a plan going forward. We still want to do the best you can every week, you know, no matter where you are in the points. You know, you want to show up and try to win. So I don't think it changed anything we had planned.
Any final questions for Matt? We'll wrap up with Bob in the front.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. Do you think the penalties NASCAR issued last year to Waltrip will prevent anything like that from happening this weekend? And is the fact that there's 16 drivers in the chase, do you think that kind of also might, you know, keep people from going to those extremes?
Oh man, that'd be the smartest thing for me to do is not touch that one. But you know, it's different. You know, because a win is going to get somebody in and knock the other guy out. So there's nobody in their right mind that would ever give up a win on this level. It's way too hard to win races, so I don't think you have to worry about that. You can put that out of your mind. And other than that, I don't know. I would assume you know, there's been 25 weeks to get there. Honestly, I've been in a bubble here before, and I've made it most times. One time we didn't, and you know, my approach when I came into it, and it's still kind of the same thought, as you had 25 weeks to get it done. You know, it's not all about this week. This is 1/26th of the chances and opportunities and races and laps and miles that you had to get yourself in a position to make it. So I know everybody stares at it a lot closer, but I mean, I don't think things happen here that are that much more out of the ordinary that might happen on week 4 or 6 or 10 or whatever.
All right, Matt, thanks for coming
All right,
in,
no
and good
problem.
luck this weekend.